Hello my friends, and welcome back to my channel. For today's reading, I wanted to do a soul tribe reading. I hope you are all doing well. I felt called to grab this deck. Very interesting. It's not a deck that I grab a lot, so we're gonna shuffle and we're gonna see what you need to hear. We have the siren right away and the vision. Interesting. So I just kind of wanted to see what needed to come out for the soul tribe today. The crone. I have no plan. The eternal child. I have no plan for this reading because it's a soul tribe reading. So we're just going to see what comes out. All right. Let's see. What do we need to hear, Spirit? What do we need to hear? We have the seed, and we see this little seed, a pearl, and all those rings. It reminds me of a tree, how you can tell how old a tree is by the rings. Anyway, beautiful. So let's have a look at this card, my friends. All right. Where are you? There you are. The beginning, the origin, the pearl. Beautiful. So, beginnings come in many forms. They are not always a beautiful seed placed intentionally in nourishing soil. Origin stories, like any birth story, are complex, surprising, multi-layered, and usually reveal a central image or detail that represents the fully formed being. Simply stated, the end is present in the beginning, or the entire oak tree resides within the acorn. Whether you follow this imaginal theory or not, know that when this card appears, there is potent generative energy all around. It stirs your very insides and usually results in an antsy, impatient feeling. Pay particular attention to what agitates you, as it is a sure sign of growth to come. You are bumping up against a growth edge. It is from the grit that the pearl eventually comes to be. And this reminds me of the card in another deck, which I almost used today, which is the edge of evolution is messy. So sometimes we feel our messiest and our lowest when we're transforming and growing and changing. I was going to say I was called to use circle cards today. This was not the only deck that I was drawn to. There was another deck which was circular. And that's very symbolic of cycles coming to an end, completion, world energy. Before I started this reading, I actually just randomly flipped open the book and I read the card that it opened up for me, and it definitely resonated with some of the cycles that I'm looking at right now. Anyway, so when in dark, the energy is festering, stewing, dormant. So feeling, frustrated, thinking about this, stewing over things, sitting in your ego, overthinking. When in light, generative, fertile, germinating, building. So it seems like it actually reminds me of the healing journey and about how long it can take you to find that pearl. Anyway, you are bumping up against a growth edge. I'm going to get tarot on these cards as well. So let's see what comes out for you, my friends. I haven't quite decided how I'm going to shuffle these out for you. So let's see what happens. Usually they come out in big clumps. I think I'm just going to shuffle and then stop and take one off the top. You could be very quiet right now. I feel very quiet compared to how I normally am so chatty. So you could be in a very reflective state. Maybe you're going through like transformation. I'm seeing in the tarot deck that I'm about to use, I'm seeing the Eight of Swords, which is actually a butterfly that's about to emerge from a cocoon, and it's hanging over all of these swords. But anyway. Just gonna go until I'm guided to stop. We have this stone. So that's the one I felt guided to take. Very interesting, the Philosopher's Stone. And we also see an eye here and a gem and a circle. So my plan is just to read these to you. That is weird. That is very strange. What? This is the card that comes directly don't judge me, I bent the page. This is the card that comes directly after the seed. That is magical. The eternal, the anchor, the rock. Steadfast, loyal, committed, present. So I feel like you are someone who is very committed to that healing journey. That's kind of what I was feeling with that seed and all the rings leading into that pearl. It's not an easy journey. It's, anyway, beautiful. I think that's really cool. And I'm gonna have problems with the words, so be patient. As an archetypal object, the stone holds psychic and literal weight. Its energy is one of permanence, concretedness, and reliability. The stone's ability to transform is nearly imperceptible to us, as it changes ever so slowly over countless human lifespans. A single stone may see thousands of generations come and go. Therefore, it contains an ancient and eternal presence. The stone is best used to anchor our wild side. So no matter how far we roam, we can always find our way back. The stone tethers us to earth, helping to ground and connect us to stillness and quiet. Are you kidding me? That is freaking magic. Okay, well, I don't feel so quiet and restful now, Spirit. I was just talking about that energy of quiet and stillness that I was feeling. Anyway, that is very interesting. And peace. When this card appears, it is likely the stone is a remedy for what ails us. Humble and easily unnoticed, the power of the stone balances the frenzy of our world. So when in dark, when you are not grounded, it says weighted down, holding back, cold. When in light, steadfast, loyal, committed, present. So you could be someone who, you know, was feeling 10 of Wands energy, very overburdened. Perhaps you took on too much work. Maybe you were trying to heal too much. Maybe you were trying to heal something too quickly. Maybe you started feeling detached and cold from things. Very interesting energy. I'm just going to look at that one more time. It's almost like when you are working towards something, and like the way that I'm going to describe it is I'm going to take something like work. And so when I used to be a photographer, I would have like eight sessions to edit, mini sessions. And I would think, I'm just going to do it all in one go. And as I progressed through all this editing, I would start to feel ungrounded and disconnected and cranky. And what was needed was for me, like I'd start making mistakes, my computer would start acting up, And everything around me was telling, you're taking too much on. You need to step back. It's okay to have a moment of silence and a moment of peace. And I really had to learn when that was. That's actually something I'm learning right now, is when are you putting too much on your plate? You know, I don't know what it is about me, but I think it stems from my childhood and the fact that I was taught that if you aren't doing something to contribute to something, then you're not doing your thing, you're being lazy. And I can remember like standing around with my parents and my sister and us all. The only time we ever smoked was when we were the only time we were ever talking was when we were having a smoke together outside. And we were all standing around kind of patting ourselves on the back for being people who work really hard and overwork and overachievers and good work ethic. And I know now that I was running myself into the ground. But anyway, also on the healing journey, it's important to be able to ground yourself, to not be... There's something about balancing spirituality and practicality. And I don't know what my point is here. That bike in the distance distracted me. So, rock on, buddy. Maybe that's symbolic for someone it was yesterday. So it does feel like maybe, I'm not sure if this is in the past or this is right now, but there's kind of that 10 of Wands, busyness, trying to achieve a lot of things. And there is this energy of needing to ground yourself. And, you know, just back to that whole computer thing, I always felt better when I returned to it after. I returned to it with a fresh mind. It's okay to take a break from things. It's okay to not be available, and to ground within ourselves. I was having some kind of weird day yesterday where I had like an ego flare up in the middle of my day over nothing. It came from, I believe it came from one of the piles that I did in my pick a card. But for the first time in my entire friendship with my best friend, I messaged her and I said, I'm having a rough day. Forgive me for not talking. And I didn't really check my phone for the rest of the day, and I needed that. And it took me so long to be able to do that. Like, it took me, I don't know how many, like, again, she's been my best friend for like 10 years or something crazy, as long as we've had kids. And I've never done that. Like, I've never just, anyway, that could be symbolic to someone. So needing to ground yourself, quiet. And that's how I felt when I came into this reading. I was very quiet, wasn't saying anything during the shuffle. Like, when do I not talk during the shuffle? Anyway, let's get another card. The empty room. Well, now I have to look at that. This reminds me, the empty room. We'll get into it. But one thing that this is called, like my spirits are bringing up with me, is just going back to that workaholic thing. I realized when I spiritually awakened that I had spent most of my life working. And when I moved up into this bedroom, I had nothing. It was empty. I had nothing. I had 2 stuffed animals from when I was a kid. I had nothing. And now I can't, like, I've run out of room in this room. So anyway, I just felt called to bring that up. Like, that was a few years ago now. So maybe that's symbolic to someone. Silence. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. The empty room, the vortex, the abyss, the nothing. The nothing, never-ending story. I want to watch that. So when in light, spaciousness, potential, possibility. When in dark, addiction, insatiability, more for more's sake. Oh, the void, the void, the void. So remember when I was talking about how I had nothing? So before I awakened, that is how I would describe it, as the void. I would describe it as more for more's sake, you know, the vortex. Oh my gosh, I was listening to, that's interesting. I was listening to something about the vortex the other day. Anyway, and about how when we're in the vortex, no, I'm not going to talk about it right now. I'm going to rewatch it and then do it in another soul tribe reading. But anyway, it talks about addiction. And before I awakened, before I learned how to ground myself, before I pushed against that growth edge, the seed, I had what felt like a void within me. And what I was saying about working, I just filled it with work. Addicted to work. Hello, me and my family standing around smoking our cigarettes, talking about, oh, hey, we're so hardworking, like patting ourselves on the back for being addicted to work, and many other addictions. My whole life, I felt like I had a void within me when I was, well, not my whole life. It started in childhood after trauma, of course. And then as a teenager, I started filling that void. And as a young adult, I started filling that void with alcohol. And I became very addicted to alcohol because it took away that feeling of the void. But I just wanted more and more and more and more. And you would be shocked at how much I could drink. And then after I realized I'm an addict, like I've got to stop, I just switched my addiction. Like I'm laughing now. It's not really funny. But like immediately I was like, well, I'm going to get a dog. A puppy will fill that void. So I got a dog. And then I got a house. And I tried to fill that void with material things. And then I had 2 kids. I had twins. And I went through a lot to have them. And a few months into having them, I can remember my mom saying to me, I don't understand why you're depressed. You have everything you need, everything you've ever wanted. Anyway, and then a couple years later, I had more kids. And I talk about how I was trying to fill this void within me. And these things would temporarily fill that void, but that void would always return. That emptiness would always return. And then after the kids, after 4 kids, to be fair, it's not like I said, the way I talk about it now makes me sound like I was like, oh, I'm just going to have all the kids I want. And that's not what it was. I had 2 sets of twins. I had a hard time having kids. And, you know, my whole life, I just looked at everything. Well, if I could just have kids, then I'll feel fulfilled. Well, if I just do this, then I'll feel fulfilled. If, you know, I can make this photography business thrive, then I'll feel fulfilled. Nope, nope, nope. I'm not saying my kids don't fulfill me. They do, especially now that I'm spiritually awakened. The channeling is strong in this one. But nope. That didn't do it either. So I started getting dogs. And looking back, I understand. You won't understand because you don't know my story. But those dogs came into my life for a reason. And I see that reason. But looking back, I was still trying to fill a void. So at one point I had 4 dogs. Now I only have 3. Because my beautiful Gracie passed away, the one I got after I quit drinking. What was my point? And then even that, the puppies were not fulfilling me. Like the energy that it was more for more's sake, just like this card is talking about. So then I started plants. I was like, oh, plants. Got involved with plants, bought way too many freaking plants. Now I only have a small few that I can take care of because I started to spiritually awaken, and then I didn't even have time to take care of my plants. And I realized I had spent my whole life taking care of other people, taking care of babies, taking care of puppies, taking care of my plants. No time taking care of myself, none. And that's what I was trying to fill, that void of emptiness, which I feel fulfilled through spirituality. Like I feel like I have filled that void, or I'm working to fill that void. It doesn't feel like a void anymore, you know? Anyway, that was a rant and a half. So anyway, I just don't even know what happened to me. Something else took over me in that moment. I'm not going to apologize. I'm struggling. I'm really struggling with my ego right now. I'm really struggling. And I know that my soul tribe can feel it. The empty room haunts us all. It is the universal and all too frequent feeling of lack, of wanting, of the craving to fill ourselves with something, anything. See, I didn't even read this. That's magical. I saw the nothing and then I started talking. We too often attempt to remedy the discomfort of the empty room by any means necessary, leading us to a culture of more. Ironically, the empty room is filled to the brim with potential, yet we perceive it as not enough. This card is a cry for patience, for sitting within the barren walls of not knowing, for awaiting true vision and purpose before attaching to what we should do next to save our outward appearance. And it just makes me think of my mom, like, you should be happy. Be with the nothingness, be with the impatience. The empty room has immense power. Let others wonder what you are doing. If you can settle into the magic of emptiness, you will soon hear its whispers of wisdom. Very interesting. So I'm not sure how that resonates to you, but I really felt called to, talk my arse off there. But anyway, let's keep going. Thanks for listening. Honestly, yesterday I decided to disconnect from social media. Like I posted those videos and then I didn't even look to see the comments or anything. I just turned my phone off, and I think that I need to do that more. Maybe that's something you're struggling with. We do get addicted to our devices. I don't know why I'm bringing this up. There goes, hello, hi. He's going to be like my mascot pretty soon. It's just this person on a small bike that keeps driving by. Anyway, maybe something about your cell phone, maybe, grounding yourself through maybe disconnecting from that side of things for a while. But anyway, so let's get another card. It's funny, when I started this reading, it was so quiet and like, I just didn't even know what was happening. But now I can't stop talking. So what else do we need to know? My plan was to get 3. So there's a call to ground yourself here. Possibly in the past, all right then, I'm going to take it. Possibly in the past, because it is falling in past energy. But we have the siren. The reason I took it is because only one came out, and I did see it was one of the only cards I mentioned when I was shuffling in silence. Interesting. The mermaid. Mermaids could be symbolic. I hope maybe this card talks about the siren and how mermaids used to lure people to their death or something. I think that's what it was. There's a song that's coming to mind. Is it Song of the Siren? Anyway. The temptress, the seducer, the femme fatale. Interesting. So, this could be current energy. When in light, awaken sensuality, absorption, arousal. When dark, wickedness, adultery, wreckage, betrayal, insatiability. Isn't insatiability, wasn't that in the empty room card? I think it was. So for some of you, that empty void could have brought out what, I'm not saying you're wicked, but it could have brought out adultery, wreckage, betrayal. Very interesting. The siren calls and the world spins. What we thought we wanted pales in comparison to the sweet allure of her song. We find ourselves lost in a spell of desire and longing, perhaps even lust. Whether the thing calling to us is ultimately good or bad is somewhat irrelevant. It's the journey that matters, and the work of the siren is to take us on a deep psychic descent. Following her song, we go down, down, down to a place where lessons are learned and courage must be rallied to find our way back to dry land. Try as we might, resisting the call may not even be an option. Unless the Odysseus, is that how you say it? We bind our hands to the mast of our ship. It's likely, though, that falling for her call is the only way we will come to live more fully on the surface. So, oh gosh, I need to talk about this, and I'm like, so this is the energy that I'm feeling is that energy of the empty room, of trying to fill a void, of doing the things that we were told we should be doing. And then something happens that triggers a spiritual awakening and calls to us. And whatever it pulls us, like this says, down into a deep psychic descent. And we awaken. And for some of you, I could see this being like counterpart energy, because it talks about adultery. It talks about, feeling this call to something that you can't really explain, that causes you to look at what you have and everything pales in comparison to that psychic, spiritual longing that you're feeling towards this siren. Does that make sense? That's what I was feeling when I was reading this card. And I think that in society, we're so quick to label people as cheaters and adulterers and things like that. And I was always someone who was very against things like that, very judgmental. And my opinion of that has changed. And I know now, that when I'm triggered by something someone else is doing, it's a reflection of something that I need to watch out for, because I spent a long time really hardcore judging people who were tempted by things. And it was because I was going to go through that later on in my life, and I needed to learn that lesson. And I'm not someone who, condones cheating, condones those type of things. I'm not heartless. When I do readings and there's a third party, I don't dig into that third party information, because that person is a person too. And they're someone who's probably going to get hurt or already has been hurt. Anyway, I'm not here to condone it, but after going through it, about like just the way that I described filling that void, and from the outside, everybody who saw me thought she has a great life. She has her own business. She's married to a really nice person. They have 4 kids. They have dogs. She has no reason to be unhappy. And then siren, and something was calling me deep within. Anyway, I don't know how that's symbolic, but I wanted to bring it up. Now, that being said, like I said, I don't condone cheating. I'm just going to talk about it. In my situation, I could not even toy with the idea of being with someone else without talking to my partner. So before I even went down the spiritual road, went down the counterpart road, I'm like burning. I'm on fire right now. I told my partner that I had to talk to him. And after 13 years of marriage or whatever it was, I was like, I'm feeling called to someone else. And I said, I can't describe it. It doesn't make any sense. It felt like this. And it felt, I just can't even describe it. So now I have compassion for people in that situation. From the outside, it's easy for us to say, oh, that person's just a player and they did the dirty on their wife. Right before I awakened, weeks before I awakened, I was furious because of the comedian John Mulaney. I really loved him. And I read an article that he was an addict. And when he went to recovery, he came out of recovery very different and left his wife and went and had a baby with someone else. And I was like, I am never going to watch him again. I was so judgmental. I told like my best friend about it. I told my partner about it. I told my sister about it. I was like, I'm never going to watch that guy again. And a couple weeks later, I was in not that situation, but I was awakening and feeling different things. Anyway, so I don't know what the point of all that was, but whatever. And it's hard to resist the call when you're feeling called to something on a spiritual level. Like, look at all the people who are called to counterpart connections, and the whole world is telling them counterpart connections are crap and they're toxic, and why would you want that? And we're over here like, why would we want that? Like, thank you. Because it's about a call deep within us. That is the point of the counterpart journey, is to heal yourself and to evolve into the highest version of yourself. Anyway, oh my gosh, I don't even know if anyone's here anymore. And the only way we can awaken is to follow that call of the siren. And sometimes that means that we're tempted away from what we thought we wanted. However that resonates to you, Anyway, I just went on a rant. I don't want to apologize. So I've seen this card twice, and I do feel called to talk about it, just because I've seen it twice, and I shuffled quite a few times. So this was underneath I believe it might have been under the empty room. And that looks like the eye of a wolf to me. When that happened to me, when I was feeling that siren's call, I started looking at my family history and how in my family, it was always, in my family, people stayed in their marriage even when they weren't happy. And I knew how that played out. Anyway, I don't even know where I'm going with that. The animal, the beast, the wild one, the she-wolf. Vital, so when light, vital, elemental, alive, dances. When dark, savagery, pent-up emotion, lashing out. Okay, so this is like, to me, this is like the Knight of Swords, Five of Swords energy. It's that it is that the one inside of us that lashes out at others. Something I'm really struggling with on my journey. You know, I had no idea this was going to get so personal, but growing up, that is how I saw my parents deal with conflict, was by lashing out. It was mostly my dad lashing out at my mom. And I have that within me. Like I have my dad within me. And that's something that happens to me that I'm really trying to work on. But anyway, I'm here to be transparent with you. We are mammals. The hair on our chest and between our legs reminds us so. Interesting. We try hard to deny our unrefined animalistic nature, yet through this archetype we tap into power and direction. Activating the animal within means reawakening our relationship to nature in the most broad and embodied sense. Drinking from waterfalls, roaring at the moon, opening eyes underwater, eating berries from the vine. The life force of our planet begs us to set down the devices. Oh my gosh. What was I saying about taking a break from our devices? The life force of our planet begs us to set down the devices, the constraints, and the social constructs, and remember the warm blood that pulses through our veins. The animal longs for breath, food, procreation, and physicality. It wants soil under our nails and starlight in our skin. If all of this sounds terribly unsophisticated to you, take note that it is said that when Buddha became enlightened, he roared like a great lion. Beautiful. And you know, that animal within us wants to be free. Just like I was talking about the inner child who wants to be free, that animal wants to be free. It makes me think of that Jaguar. I'm just going to say it how I say it. That Jaguar card about how we chain this animal to the back of our mind, into the darkness, and we try and hide this part of ourselves. When this animal wants to be unleashed, this animal wants to be recognized, and then that energy be put forth towards things like dancing and being alive and enjoying nature. And when our animal is chained within us, what happens when someone triggers that animal is that animal bites back. Anyway, moving on. Maybe we all need to take a break from our devices. So we're going to get one more. We have, oh, here we go. Alethea or Alethea. I don't know how to pronounce it. And we have the kiss, which was underneath the animal. Truth. Okay, then. Interesting. Truth, clarity, revelation, disclosure. When in dark, distortions, gaslighting, excuses. And we see this yin and yang symbol here. Our soul recognizes the truth. When someone speaks it, a cool wave of relief washes over the room, and all of the facts and figures in the world fall by the wayside. Such is the power of Alethea or Alethea, I don't know. It has the undeniable resonance that goes beyond the rational. We can also recognize Alethea, however you say it, by its contagiousness. When we hear someone speak the truth, we see the truth within ourselves and are more likely to tell our own story. The Alethea card requires us to step towards an act of truth. This might look like a conversation, a gesture, a poetic act, or a ritual that honors the unveiling of what's been concealed. Reclaiming your own truth is a way to reclaim your vital energy, health, and a sense of belonging in the world. Truth has its own wings. Set it free. Interesting. I'm just looking if there's... Picasso said, "We all know that art is not truth. Art is a lie that makes us realize truth, at least the truth that is given us to understand." I'm just taking in the energy of this card. You know, I was thinking about how I'm sitting here being very honest about some of my truths, and perhaps it's making you realize your truths. You know, when someone's speaking their authentic truth, it does inspire others to speak their authentic truth. And that's what this card is talking about. And when you see someone else being honest, it encourage, like when you're honest with someone, it gives, and it's truly authentic, then it energetically, it makes them want to be honest as well. And this talks about a conversation, so I'm not sure if there's a conversation you're supposed to have with someone where you're very truthful and honest, but that's what we're seeing here. It is yin and yang. Perhaps you're someone who is learning how to balance your feminine and masculine energies so that you can be honest and truthful. Because sometimes our ego, thinking about that ego attack I had yesterday, our ego can actually keep us from being honest with ourselves about some of our own behaviors. But anyway, I am going through some type of ego something recently, where I'm starting to look at the things that I am resisting because of ego, and I'm starting to be honest with myself about some of the things I still need to work on. You know, like I was looking at myself yesterday thinking there are all these things that I'm supposed to be working on, but I'm really not, you know, and I need to, if you're going to spiritually awaken and you're going to heal, you actually do need to do the work. So perhaps there's some kind of, maybe it's even just being honest with yourself about some of the things that you need to look at and be honest about. You know, maybe whatever this siren is, maybe this is calling for you to be honest with someone about what is calling you, or to be honest with yourself. But anyway, we're going to see what comes out past, present, future for you, and what Spirit wants you to know. I was actually going to look at... No, I won't. So when I picked up this deck, the Emperor was on the bottom, and I didn't want it to, like, I didn't know what this reading was going to be, so I cut the deck, and on the bottom is the sun. So we do have like that divine masculine energy, the sun, enlightenment, healing, shining a light on your shadows and freeing yourself, raising your vibration. Anyway, so let's have a look at what this all means for you. We have Four of Pentacles, Four of Pentacles. Oh my gosh. Four of Pentacles can be that energy of, you know, holding back. It can be the energy of, you know, staying in a situation because it's what you know and it feels safer. Four of Pentacles can be the feeling of not being good enough for things. But anyway, it's also symbolic of an energy that you can't let go, like counterpart energy, for example. We have the Ace of Pentacles. Oh my gosh, the synchronicities, the seed, the tree. The synchronicities, my friends. And I think it's very interesting that the first card we had for you on that other deck was the seed. And here we have it illuminated by the sun. And we see something cracking open. Beautiful. I don't know. I'm feeling called to dig out the book for this tarot deck, which I haven't looked at in like a year. So hang on. You know, in SpongeBob, where it's like 5 hours later. I couldn't find it. It's like the only tarot book I cannot find, which is strange. And the last time I saw it was when I was traveling almost a year ago. So I'm assuming it's in my suitcase. But anyway, Two of Cups, interesting. Oh my gosh, the synchronicities. Look, we have 2 roses here, 2 roses here. The Fool, taking a leap of faith into spirituality, being called by that siren. Son of Swords, Knight of Swords. Quick communication, fast communication. So we have the Eight of Pentacles and the Magician. Very interesting. The Eight of Pentacles is renewal energy. It's also, I'm seeing spider, could be divine feminine energy. The Magician, interesting. I need to look at this. Eight of Pentacles. It does talk about cultivating a relationship, developing skills. So this could be, with the Magician and the Eight of Pentacles, you could be someone who's, interesting, you could be someone who is working on some of your skills right now, balancing these things. You know, your mental clarity, your finances, your emotions, your spirituality, wands. And you could be very focused on your own stability right now. This does give the energy of a renewal, and we do have a conversation here. So we'll see what comes out. So we're going to go past energy. We have the Two of Swords, a decision. So for some of you, it could have been that, you know, you had to make a choice. This Sun reminds me of that Emperor card. And it could have been that you were called to the counterpart connection away from another foundation, the stone. We have the Daughter of Cups, the Page of Cups. A very intuitive energy, the Page of Cups. Very dreamlike. Interesting. Two of Swords, a decision needed to be made. The Two of Swords can also be symbolic of, that was the Daughter of Pentacles that almost came out. The Two of Swords can also be symbolic of, you know, the battle between your ego and your soul, the battle between what your head is telling you to do and your heart is telling you to do. And I don't just mean, you know, between two people, if that's the situation for you. I just mean, I said practice, balance, practicality, and spirituality. I was seeing this card when I was talking about this. And it could be that you had a hard time deciphering what was intuition and what was fear and ego. Page of Cups, it felt like something was calling to you, something was tugging on the string of fate. The Siren. So let's get one more. Past energy. We have the Mother of Wands, the Queen of Wands. So it's very interesting because this Mother of Wands is giving me the energy of passion, of attraction, of creativity, of spirituality. And the Five of Pentacles feels in reverse, feels like being seen, feeling like you're no longer isolated, like you're no longer out there in the cold, I mean. So I'm not sure what's happening here, but to me, it does give the energy of this siren, something making you come alive. And it possibly making you question your original foundation or the original path of your life. And the Queen of Wands is, for some of you, maybe you were dealing with someone where there was a choice between you and a third party. But what I'm really getting is I'm seeing something that lit you up, that made you feel this calling to spirit. The Queen of Wands, very connected to spirit, very confident. So it could be that someone, you know, brought out that energy in you and made you feel seen and acknowledged in a way that maybe you didn't in the past. We have the Six of Wands here, and the Six of Wands is, you know, the energy of feeling seen and feeling loved. And we have the Nine of Cups. And that's that intuitive, like, this feels like it's my wish fulfillment. This feels like the path I'm supposed to be on. But sometimes that path comes at a cost. You know, sometimes that path to spirituality, to wish fulfillment, whatever that is for you, comes at a cost. And decisions need to be made, and versions of ourselves, people, places, things are left behind. So that's kind of the energy that's coming through here. The Nine of Cups is one of the energies in the Light Seers deck that I really resonate with my own journey, because it's the energy of whatever your heart is guiding you towards. And it's the energy of needing to choose what your heart wants, not what everybody else wants you to do. We do have an ending here. So for some of you, it could be that all this is coming out because you are in like a marriage and you've met someone else, or you are, it doesn't even have to be a marriage. It could be that you are on a different life path, different beliefs, and something has awoken you and is calling to you. Remember, there's an energy here of a conversation and truth. And I remember talking to you in this reading about that really honest conversation I had to have with my partner. Anyway, interesting. So let's see current energy with you. What is your current energy? It feels like something woke you up, something that was laying dormant within you is what it feels like. We have the Son of Swords, which is the energy of fast communication. It's the energy of impulsivity, something coming in very quickly, something happening very suddenly. It's interesting because it's underneath the siren, and that could have to do with whatever calls to you. You could feel this urge to go towards it. It might not even be current energy now that I'm saying that, because it's falling under the siren. Anyway, we have the Father of Swords. So it does seem like there is a need to be honest about something, or somebody being honest with you. The Five of Cups, regret and sadness. Interesting. I can't help but feel very similar energy to what I was rambling about earlier, which is really strange. Not strange, it's just interesting. What else would I say? Strange, interesting, that's like my whole vocabulary. I'm laughing at myself, it's okay. Knight of Swords is fast, intense energy. He comes in quick like a bat out of hell. He is filled with sheer ambition, strength, determination to succeed with his quest no matter what. He doesn't care about any upcoming challenges. So it feels to me like maybe your very current energy, you could be very focused on whatever this siren is. You could be focused on your spirituality. You could be focused on going after what it is you want to go after. Who cares what anybody else thinks? There is an energy of decisive action, And the fact that we had the Emperor and the Sun, you could be in the energy where you know your truth, you know what matters to you, and that you're making very decisive moves right now, especially if you're someone who's starting to look at your shadows and things like that. Interesting. Getting things done, focus on career, efficiency, making big moves, focus on financial goals, taking action on financial goals. So it does seem like you're someone who's very focused or about to be focused on getting things done. Interesting. We also have the King of Swords, intellectual power, clarity of mind, and clear judgment. Controlled emotions, challenge to do your best, acting logically. So it could be the energy that I'm seeing here is that you're making decisive actions, but you're also thinking things through. You're not doing it. You aren't reacting from, remember that card, the animal, or whatever it was called with the eye? Perhaps you're learning how to harness that Knight of Swords energy within yourself and approach things logically and openly and honestly, not from a triggered place. It could also be that you have someone coming towards you, because in this placement we have a conversation and truth, and we have the Father of Swords, which is truth and clarity. Let's get one more for current energy. We have the Magician and the Eight of Pentacles. Yes! Focused on getting things done, focused on your own elements, focused on self, focused on following that inner calling, whatever it is. Eight of Pentacles. We do have the Two of Cups, so there could be a renewal here with someone. Look, we have the Queen of Swords. I can't. That's counterpart energy. King of Swords, Queen of Swords. And it could be that this is a connection where there were communication problems. It could be that you're both very intellectual. But this shows, this energy right here talks about truth. And I was talking about how it says when you speak your authentic truth, it encourages others to be authentic and truthful. And you can feel when it's the truth, especially if you are an empath or a spiritual person that can see through that veil. And what I'm seeing is perhaps you being very open and honest with someone, and then them being very open and honest with you back, or vice versa. I think there's a conversation here coming. The Sun, justice, truth and clarity, balance, justice, the conversation, the truth shall set you free. So right now you could be someone who has a boundary up against this King of Swords. You could be someone who knows this communication is coming. If you look at that owl, definitely you're looking at things logically, not from a place of trigger. Anyway, and it could be that that's what's causing enlightenment here. Future energy, that's what I want to see. Future energy. Future energy. We have the truth. So what does that mean? Future energy, please, Spirit. We have the Two of Cups. It kept wanting to come out. I cannot. And we have the Star, wish fulfillment. Remember that Nine of Cups. So something that you've been hoping for. Two of Cups, a connection. Six of Pentacles, equal give and take, energy exchange, reciprocated energy. So I'm just going to tell you what this could be. This could be, I could see this being you talking to someone, you know, about what your soul is calling you towards, whether that's a job, whether that's a relationship, whether that's moving, whatever it is. I can also see this being a conversation between you and whoever is this, whoever called to your soul, whoever was the siren that pulled you into this spiritual journey. I feel like there's a very honest conversation between two people. So however that's resonating with you. whether that is your counterpart or whether that is someone you need to be honest with about what is calling to you. It doesn't have to be a person. Let's get one more for future energy. Oh my gosh, I just saw the 10 of Cups want to come out. It wanted to come out with the 9 of Pentacles. We have the 10 of Pentacles. Son of Pentacles. The Lovers? Are you freaking kidding me? And the Queen of Swords, authentic truth. Speaking your truth to a lover or about a lover. Take it as it resonates, my friends. We see an honest conversation. You know, I'll show you mine if you show me yours. The truth, the authentic truth. That's what I'm talking about. Again, I could see this being, there was a reason I felt called to bring up my past, and I could see this being a conversation between you and someone else about a love connection that you're, or soul connection that you're dealing with. Or I could see it being a conversation between you and this counterpart energy. So we do have the decision to have a conversation, to invest in something here slowly. The fact that we had the 9 of Pentacles and the 10 of Cups shows it's your emotional fulfillment, but 9 of Pentacles is independent energy. So it feels like a conversation about working towards stability, but not labeling it. And we have the Son of Pentacles here, so working towards stability with someone very slowly is what I'm seeing, if you're resonating with that energy. Anyway, we see you standing in your truth here, seeing you standing in your authentic truth, your power, conversation between you and someone else, however that's resonating. We do have the Lovers, so the Lovers can be a decision to leave someone for another. It can be a decision to choose to invest in a counterpart connection. This talks about divine love. You know, the fact that we had the King of Swords and the Queen of Swords, and now we have 2 birds, is very symbolic of, to me, of counterpart energy and how they always kind of come home to each other in a sense. I don't even know what else I need to ask here. What advice do you need to hear? What advice do you need to hear? We have Judgment. So, judgment is, how can I explain? I'm just going to try and tie it into my earlier ramblings. Judgment is a moment where it's up to you to go in and reflect on your highest, like on your soul path, on the choices you make. It can be about making decisions and releasing a connection so that you can invest in another one. It can be about a conversation between you and another where you both take accountability and a renewal happens and there's forward movement. The moment of judgment is here. I feel like the ball is in your court is something that I'm hearing with Judgment. That whatever you want to happen here, the ball is in your court. Again, for some of you, there's a reason I keep thinking of my counterpart journey and the need to go in and reflect at what my soul wanted, even though my head and my judgmental self and my ego were telling me that I should, like I was listening to those programmed thoughts, the social constraints that card was talking about. Anyway, I just want to bring out, talking about my what was an empty room is now full of tarot cards and crystals. And I just put up another shelf to hold more of it beside me. So now my books are more organized. I'm trying to do things that I've been putting off doing. Okay, so I wanted to read you this one for some reason. This incredibly understated and powerful card suggests an opportunity for two paths. The truth is, they both lead to the same place, although one may take longer. Awakenings and enlightenment come in all different forms throughout our lives. Some awakenings are brought on by deeply understanding how we've caused harm in the past, while others are brought on by deeply examining ourselves. So this is what I mean. This is the energy of deeply examining yourself. It can be the energy of, like this says, how we've caused harm in the past, and that's why it's linked to someone taking accountability for their actions and the hurts they've caused. For some reason, I keep feeling called to someone who's going through the steps in AA, although I wasn't in AA. You know, someone in AA would go through everything, the way they're drinking negatively affected others, and then reach out to that person and try and make peace with them. But anyway, whichever path you choose, know that it will lead you on a journey of self-discovery to meet your highest self. This card shows up to indicate that a personal awakening is on the horizon. The planet associated with the Judgment card is Pluto. Pluto corresponds with both death and spirituality, promising a grand transformation. One might associate the energy of this card with answering a call directly from the divine. It's time to take the call and meet a new version of yourself. And again, I keep getting called like memories and feelings of when I went through something similar, so that could be symbolic for some of you. I'm also going to read you Judgment in reverse, because sometimes we get into the energy of Judgment in reverse and it causes stagnancy and cycles to repeat. And perhaps you were dealing with that. I deal with that. Maybe your person was dealing with that. The card's reversed expression indicates that you're avoiding an inner calling to wake up or make a big change. The life-changing transformations that the Judgment card suggests can certainly seem scary. If you've felt an inclination to face new ideas that you've been putting off, this card is a clear call to entertain the idea of a higher calling. What might a new and revolutionary path look like and feel like for you? The universe is trying to connect with you. And I tell people, I don't know how many times I feel like the universe tried to say, you're not happy, you're filling a void that could be filled by healing yourself. Anyway, sometimes we have to get thrown out of that tower. I have no idea what any of that means, but I'm going to leave it there. I don't know. I don't remember these readings after I do them. So hopefully that benefited someone. I hope the right person heard that, because I really felt connected to that energy. And I'm sending you lots of love and light, my friends, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.